information on what we could do to improve the town meeting and also our relationship with Board of Selectmen. Thank you.
I support an ordinance that would require that at the end of town meetings, nearly all decisions go to machine vote. People speak of the great heritage of the town meeting that has been in place over 100 years. But 100 years ago, the population of Easton was about 1,000, and women and 18-year-olds were not allowed to vote. So there were about 300 registered voters. At our August special town meeting, about 330 people attended. 100 years ago, that would have represented every voter. But today, it is only 6% of our registered voters. And by the time we voted, we were down to 4% of the voters. What about the residents who would have liked to attend but did not have childcare, who don't drive at night, or had to wake up early for work the next day? Shouldn't they be counted in a democracy? Just because the town meeting was a good way to legislate in 1918 doesn't mean it does not need some updating in 2018. I'm concerned also that the current town government depends on a large number of volunteers. Given the stresses of our modern economy and society, with long commutes, long hours, two-wage earners in many houses, kids with busy schedules, it can be hard to get enough volunteers. It's not that our old model is broken, but it's surely under strain, and we must ask if that business model is still right, is still the right one for our population today, or if adjustments are needed.
The concept of the town meeting is to have a representation of the town, to have all interests there, to be a part of the decision, a part of the discussion. As Ira mentioned, not everybody can be there. Not everybody can do that. If you commute to New York City, you're not going to make a town meeting at 7 o'clock at night, and you shouldn't be punished for that. But it's not representative of the town. I do agree that it was and could be a good model, but it does need to be changed. I think our last town meeting is evidence enough of that, the way that that meeting ran and the end result. But I do believe that people still need to have that forum to be able to speak openly and to discuss ideas and discuss concepts and discuss what is being considered for the future of the town.
We all were in attendance of the last town meeting on September 24th, and it was September, yeah, sorry. It was disturbing. If you get a chance to see it, I think it is on Channel 79. I would urge you to do so. The ordinance itself was misrepresented. The major change would have been to take it from a public hearing to a town meeting, and unfortunately it failed. Also, there was probably close to 500 people there, and 230 people stayed to vote. So yeah, we do need some changes.
Is there anything to add?
All right, Ann, you were first this time. What is your opinion on having an official have 2 public positions?
The question on officials having 2 public offices has been in the forefront in the past few years. It's a matter which depends on what 2 public offices are, but I think it would be best to avoid the situation altogether. Rather, our leaders should make it a prime mission to involve as many citizens as possible in our town government. No one should hold 2 offices that create a conflict of interest. In my opinion, that means at the very least members of the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, Board of Education, and Planning and Zoning should not hold additional public offices. For example, Ms. Zagofsky currently is the acting selectman, chairman of the Library Board of Trustees, and chairman of the Library Building Committee. She, as a selectman, has appointed individuals to her library committee. I am personally opposed to our first selectman also serving as our representative in Hartford. It's not breaking the law, but I don't believe that that's in the best interest of Easton and is not necessarily the same as the best interest of the state. I want a first selectman whose first interest is in Easton and a representative in Hartford whose first interest is the state. For example, Adam Dunsby missed the 2018 annual town meeting to attend a meeting of the legislature in Hartford. So regarding this, I am very concerned with the conflict of interest.
What's your opinion of an official having two public positions? It's a rather open-ended question, but I suspect it was primarily referring to Adam Dunsby. Voters can choose whoever they want. Personally, though, I'd prefer Easton to have a CEO whose full attention is devoted to Easton. It's easy to have one 20-hour-a-week job doing X and another 20-hour-a-week job doing Y if it really doesn't matter when you do the work, if there's complete flexibility. But this is not the case for Adam Dunsby. Both jobs have time-sensitive elements, and he cannot be in two places at once. Last week, a Board of Selectmen meeting was scheduled and was then canceled because Adam had a conflict with a campaign activity. Our major 5-year grand list revaluation was as of October 2016, so it was finalized during Adam's campaign for state representative. On April 30th, we had the town meeting to vote on the budget. It was heated, and I believe a lawsuit resulted from that meeting, and the first selectman was in Hartford that day. This juggling act works better in theory than in practice.
It is not unheard of for people to hold multiple positions within our town. One example, and not to single anybody else out, Marvin Gelfand currently serves in multiple roles: the Police Commission, the Pension and Employee Benefits Commission, and Tax Relief for the Elderly Committee, which obviously meets periodically. He is doing those positions, serving his role, and doing a great job. If people have the time, the energy, and the effort to commit to various roles that are not in direct conflict with each other, that should be welcomed. There are many times where we are looking to fill positions on committees and commissions, and they sit vacant because nobody wants to step up and fill them. If we have somebody that is willing to serve in multiple roles, again, if there is no conflict, their roles don't overlap, then it should be embraced. There is a distinction between state and municipal roles. State statute only addresses state roles. On the municipal level, I believe Anne brought up appointments to the library board. Any appointments come from the town committees. They are not hand-selected by the selectmen. They are referred to the Board of Selectmen in order to fill open roles. And as I said, unfortunately, a lot of those roles remain open for extended periods of time. There is a list of positions that are open, and finding people to fill those is sometimes difficult. To talk about the library board, we were down to 4 members at one point, and it took many months to get those referrals to fill those positions. So again, if people are willing, able, and capable to serve in multiple roles, I don't see the problem.
I stand on my comments in regard to conflicts of interest, especially when it comes to issues where there's questions of financial issues, financial matters. If there are positions that maybe Mr. Gelfand's positions, I'm not sure exactly what he is on. You said police commission?
Police Commission, Pension and Employee Benefits, and Tax Relief for the Elderly.
So they might not have conflicts, true conflicts. And that's it. Thank you.
Yes, I think as I was saying, about Adam Dunsby and the time-sensitive nature of his positions, that's rather different. I mean, we should be very appreciative of, well, I mean, frankly, we should be appreciative that Adam Dunsby wants to do both jobs, but it's a lot. Marvin Gelfand wanting to be on 3 different committees that never meet on the same night is a rather different story, and I can't say any objection to that. I'm a little confused, Christy, when you're saying that the appointments come from town committees. I mean, they don't. always, that's certainly not a legal requirement, that's sort of a convention. I mean, when you, so you became selectman by being nominated by the Republican Town Committee?
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah,
now?
well, yeah, so that doesn't have to be that way. Is that how it was, though?
No.
Okay, so it doesn't always turn out that way, right? It's up to the Board of Selectmen, they have the power, they get recommendations, and the town committees are a vetting service, but it's not a requirement anyway.
In reference to the appointments to the library board as specifically mentioned by Anne and my role, both of those recommendations came from the town committees. We did not seek those people out. I did not recruit anybody to be on the committee, and there are 3 members of the Board of Selectmen, and I could have been outvoted very easily. I do not see the conflict. Again, we keep talking a lot about Adam and his roles. This is a debate and a question and answer regarding a municipal position for the Board of Selectmen. It is not for first selectman. It is not for state representative. And I'm going to end there.
We done? Lost track.
I think, yeah. Okay. So now we